Good morning, students. Welcome to the class of Managerial Economics, Unit number 2, Production Analysis. Today, we are going to start part number 2, Law of Variable Proportion. In our last lecture, we have completed meaning of production and production function. And today we are going to start new topic of law of variable proportion. Okay, so in this part we are going to start with a quick revision of part 1. Then we will study types of inputs, then law of variable proportions. In that we will be studying statement of law, illustration, diagrammatic presentation, explanation of the law and assumptions of the law. So we will do a quick revision of part 1. In part 1 we have understand that what is production. So production is the process of transforming inputs into output. Then we have studied the factors of production that is used in production, that is land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. All that are used as inputs in production. Then we have studied very important production function. What is production function? Production function is the relationship between input and output. So what all production function says is that the quantity of output is depending upon all the inputs used. So quantity of output is depending upon inputs. So ultimately output depends on what all inputs we have used. So here in production function, this is the equation of production function, and we have studied the types of production function, that is short run and long run production function. In short run production function, we have studied that if we change only one input, so what it will impact on output. And in long run production function, we have studied that what happens in production if we change all the inputs used. Okay, so we are going to start our part 2 with, when producing an economic product, the supplier must decide how much of each input to use, like how much we use land for production, how many workers, that is labors, are required to produce a given output, how many capital or machinery we will needed to produce an output. Okay, so in particular the supplier must examine the relation between input and then there are two types of inputs, that is fixed inputs and variable inputs. So what is fixed inputs? Fixed inputs are those factors that quantity of that remains constant irrespective of level of output produced by firm. For example, land, building, machinery, equipments and tools. For example, we are producing ice cream 10,000 units per day, and we have a machinery with capacity of 1 lakh units per day, and we are producing only 10,000 units per day. હવે થાય છે એવું કે ડિમાન્ડ સડનલી રાઇઝ થાય છે આઈસ્ક્રીમની, અવર બ્રાન્ડની. સો આપણે શું કરશું? આપણે જેટલી ડિમાન્ડ રાઇઝ થઈ છે એટલું પ્રોડક્શન વધારે કરીશું. સો પહેલાં આપણે 10,000 યુનિટ્સ પ્રોડ્યુસ કરતા હતા, હવે વી હેવ ટુ પ્રોડ્યુસ 15,000 યુનિટ્સ. સો યસ, સો 15,000 યુનિટ્સ પ્રોડ્યુસ કરવા માટે મશીનરી તો એ જ રહેશે, બિકોઝ આપણી પાસે કેપેસિટી ઘણી છે, આઈ મીન 1 લાખ યુનિટ પર ડે સુધીની છે. સો મશીનરી વિલ બી ફિક્સ્ડ, બટ વોટ વી રિક્વાયર દેટ એક્સ્ટ્રા મટીરિયલ્સ જોશે, આપણે એક્સ્ટ્રા રો મટીરિયલ્સ જોશે 15,000 યુનિટ્સ પ્રોડ્યુસ કરવા માટે, પ્લસ એક્સ્ટ્રા લેબર્સ જોશે. સો લેબર્સ એન્ડ મટીરિયલ્સ આર વેરિયેબલ with output, but machinery is fixed. So here is the difference between fixed inputs and variable inputs. So yeah, variable inputs are those factors of quantity of that varies, that is changes with the level of output produced by firm. જેટલું આપણે આઉટપુટ પ્રોડ્યુસ કરશું એટલું સામે ઇનપુટ એટલું ચેન્જ થશે. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ, રો મટીરિયલ, if our production is increased by 5,000, we need to acquire raw material of 5,000 units. We have to acquire more laborers than we are doing in previous. The next is we are going to start theory of law of variable proportion. So it starts with a question: how will total output change when one input is variable and other inputs are fixed? So answer to be provided later. After understanding law of variable proportion, you will able to answer this question. Then there are two ways to illustrate the answer. Is we are going to understand with chart and graph. Okay, usually as is this example, we are going to take labor as a variable input. What is variable input? That changes with quantity of output. Okay, and all other variables are held constant. So we are going to start with an example. For an instance, there are two factors of production, that is land and labor. Land is fixed factor, whereas labor is variable factor. Now suppose we have a land of 10 acres and we grow wheat on it with the help of variable factor, that is labor. Accordingly, the proportion between the land and labor will be 1 labor and 10 acres of land. If the number of laborers is increased to 2 laborers, the new proportion between labor and land will be 2:10. Due to change in the proportion of factors, there will also emerge a change in total output in different ways. Of course, we are going to use more laborers. So of course, production will increase. This tendency in the theory of production called law of variable proportion. That is, if we are going to increase 1 unit of labor, how much it will impact on our output, that is our ultimately total production. Okay, so the equation of production function for this example is Q means quantity of output, then F means function of labor that are used in production of wheat, and capital, that is land we have used to produce wheat. So here K dash, that means The dash on K indicates that capital that we have used for production, that is constant, and labor that we have used for production is variable here. If we want to increase the production, we have to increase the labor. So in our example, there are certain assumptions like labor is variable, we are going to increase labor. Then land is fixed. Then we have assumed that technology is also fixed. Then we have assumed that wheat is grown on the farm and labor is equally efficient. If we are going to increase the number of laborers, so all we assume here, we assume that all laborers are equally efficient. Okay, so we are going to continue this example. So here is the chart. So we have used two factors, that is land and labor, where land is fixed and labor is variable. So we are increasing number of labors to see how much production is increasing by every one labor added. We have understand in production function that our output is depending upon our input. So here we are going to see how much production is, that is how much output is increasing by every one labor added. Okay, so unit of labor, first column is, then total production we have produced, then marginal product and average product. All figures are in quintals. Okay, so we are going to start with one labor. When we have one labor, we are producing 80 quintals. Okay, we are going to start with one labor. જ્યારે આપણી પાસે એક લેબર હતા ત્યારે આપણે ઓન્લી કેટલું પ્રોડ્યુસ કરતા હતા 80 quintals. Then we are adding one labor to see how much production is increased. We are going to increase one unit of labor. See what happens in production. Marginal product, that is 90 units are increased because we have added one more unit of labor. 90 units are increased. So our total product is increased by 90 units. Then we have added one more labor to see how much production is increased. As we increased one more unit of labor, what happens in production? Our production is increased by 100 quintals. So our total production is increased by 100 quintals. But at the point we are going to increase one labor more, and what we will get? The increase in production by only 98 units. That means પહેલા કરતાં થોડું ઓછું પ્રોડક્શન આપણને મળ્યું. એક વધારે યુનિટ લેબર વધારતા આપણને પહેલા કરતાં ઓછું રિઝલ્ટ મળ્યું, ઓછું આઉટપુટ મળ્યું. Then total production is increased by only 98 units this time. What will happen next if we are going to increase labor by one more unit? If we are going to increase labor by one more unit, that is fifth labor, we only get additional 62 quintals of production. So we only increased our total production by 62 units. Then we will be adding one more labor. what happens in our production? 50 quintals are produced by all the uh, by the labor. So our total production is increased by 50 units. Then we are going to add one more unit of labor. So what will happen in our production? Only 24 quintals are increased. So our total production is increased by only 24 units. Then we are going to add one more unit of labor. What happened in our production? There is the time, there is the no change in production. There is no benefit of adding one more unit of labor in production. So there is no benefit of adding one more, because જેમ જેમ આપણે લેબર ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરતા જશું એમ આઈડિયલ લેબરની આઈડિયલ લેબર વધતા જશે. તો એટલું પ્રોડક્શન ધીમે ધીમે ઇન્ક્રીઝની જગ્યાએ ઇટ વિલ ઇન્ક્રીઝ થશે, પણ એ કેવી રીતે થશે? ડિમિનિશિંગ રેટે. ઓકે, વી હેવ આઈ થિંક you all have studied marginal utility concept, law of diminishing marginal utility, that if you are consuming one apple, you get a satisfaction of full satisfaction. Then you are going to consume another apple. Then you are going to consume a third apple. So with every apple added, your utility is satisfied, and at the point of time your utility becomes zero, that you are fully satisfied. Same law applies here also. As and when we are going to add one new labor, yes, our production will definitely increase, but at diminishing rate. Okay, so at the point of time we are going the eighth labor, there is no increase in production at all. So what happens next if we are going to add one more labor? Yes, one more labor. So our production is not increased, but it decreased. Why? Because average production is declining. See, when we have only one labor, the average product is 80 by 1, that is 80. Then we have added the second labor. Our average production is 170 by 2, that is 85 units, quintals. Then we have added one more labor. Then we have total production of 270 by 3, that is average production between all labor is 90. Then we have added one more labor, and our total production is 368 quintals. Divided by 4 is 92. Then we have added one more labor, that is that produce 430 quintals. Divided by all the labors, that is 86. Then we have added one more labor. Our total production is 480. Divided by 6, that is 80. Then we have added one more labor, and we got a production of 504 quintals, and divided by 7, that is 72 quintals per labor. Then we have added one more labor, and we got only 504. quintals divided by 8 is 63. So, and we have added one more labor, that is ninth. We got 495 quintals divided by 9. We got only 55 average production. How it is happened? Because here we will see that in first 3 labor our average production is increasing, right? But after the third labor, we are as soon as we have added the fourth labor, the average production is declining. Yes, it is increasing, but it is increasing but at diminishing rate. Okay, but at the point where ninth labor is added, there is the negative change in average products, that is -9. And as soon as we have added a more labor, that is 10th labor, we have got average production very lesser, like 504. As soon as we have added the labor with 8th labor, we have got a maximum production of 504 units. Then we have added one more. We lost a production. We have not increased a production, but we have lost production of 9 units, that is 495. And as soon as we have added the more labor, our production is become negative. વધવાની જગ્યાએ ઘટી ગયું, because લેબર્સ વધી ગયા અને સામે એટલું પ્રોડક્શન ઘટી ગયું. આઈડિયલ લેબર્સનું પ્રમાણ વધી ગયું. દેટ્સ વાય પ્રોડક્શન ઇન્ક્રીઝ થવાની જગ્યાએ એટલું પ્રોડક્શન ઓછું થયું. ઓફકોર્સ કે જ્યારે આપણે કોઈ ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ આપણે 5 લેબર્સની જરૂર હોય અને આપણે સામે 10 લેબર્સ રાખીએ તો એવરેજ પ્રોડક્શન બધાનું ઘટી જવાનું એમ. ઓકે, the next is, this is the diagrammatic presentation of this chart. So at this level production is increasing. So this is the stage 1 part, that production is increasing. This is the stage 1 part. This is the stage 1 part, that average production is increasing by 5 units. Okay, so average production is increasing. Then when labor are 3, we got a maximum marginal product, that is maximum production per labor added. So for at this point our marginal production is maximum, that is increasing. But after the point 3 to point 4, yes, our production is increased but at diminishing rate. So at this point to this point our production is increased but at diminishing rate. But after the point of 8th labor, there is no increase in production. Our production is maximum at 8th labor, that is 504. So our maximum production is where? The 8th labor, that is 504 total production. After the 8th labor, we are going to lose our production. That is, our production, our average production is becoming negative. So after the 8th labor, one additional labor is not going to produce not going to produce more. Okay, so this is the stage 2, where our production is increasing but at decreasing rate. Okay, and this is the stage 3, where production becomes average and marginal production becomes negative. So this is the chart of total production we have I have explained, and this is the chart of average and marginal product. So our average product is declining. Do you see? Our average product is increased at this point, and then it is increased but at declining rate. So our maximum average production is 92 at this rate. Our maximum average production is 92. Okay, so this is the average product chart. This line is average product chart, where our production is maximum at 92. Yes, it from labor 1 to 4, it is increasing by 80, 85, then 90 and 92. Then after, it will declines by 86, 80, then 72, etc. So this is the curve of average production. Then marginal production. This is the curve of marginal chart, that every one labor added, how much production is increased. So every one labor added, this all production increase. So it goes to the negative line. So it starts with 80, 90, then becomes maximum at 100, then declines by units, and then finally it becomes negative. So our marginal production line is increasing. At third unit of labor, it becomes maximum, and then it is declining. Okay, so what is total product, average product and marginal product? Total product is defined as some total volume of production or total number of units produced with the given fixed and variable inputs. Here in this example, we have used a fixed land and variable labors. So total product is some total volume of production with fixed and variable inputs. Then what is average product? Average product is defined as ratio between total product and number of units of variable factor. Here in this example, a variable factor is labor. So our average production is total production divided by the units of variable factor. Let us see with example. Like here, the average total production, as soon as we add one more labor, our total production increased by 170. So 170, our total product, that is TP, divided by the number of variable factors, that is labor. So 170 divided by 2, that is 85. So 85 is the average product. Then we have a maximum total production of 504. So 504 divided by 7 labors, it comes to the 72 per labor. So 72 average product, 72 quintals, that is average product produced by 7 labors. Okay. Then marginal product. Marginal product is defined as increment in total output. ટોટલ આઉટપુટ કેટલું ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયું, કેટલા પર્સન્ટેજ ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયું, કેટલા રેટથી ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયું, ડ્યુ ટુ ધ યુઝ ઓફ એન એક્સ્ટ્રા યુનિટ ઓફ લેબર. ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ, as soon as we have added one more labor, we got a 90 quintal hike in our total product. As we have added one more unit of labor, we have got hike in 100 quintals. So it is a marginal product. Marginal products is the difference between these two. That is 270 minus 170. That is how much total production is increased by every one labor added. So આપણે 2 લેબરની જગ્યાએ 1 લેબર વધારીને 3 લેબર કર્યા, ત્યારે how much we get total product. So total product minus previous total product is equal to marginal product. How much margin added and how much production is increased by every one labor added. So it is 100 units increase between second and third labor. Okay. So formula is change in total product, as we have seen, divided by change in variable factor. Here we saw that change in total product. So how many quintals changed? 170 and 270. How many quintals changed? 100 quintals are added by changing one more extra unit of labor. So 100 divided by 1 is equals to marginal product is 100. Okay. So there are 3 stages here in this example. While adding units of an output, that is labor, marginal product goes through 3 stages. First one is stage 1, that is increasing returns. In our stage 1, marginal product increases throughout. Yes, we have seen in our example, in our stage 1, marginal product is increasing throughout the stage 1. So our marginal product is maximum at stage 1. Okay. This means that every additional unit of labor increases productivity as well as total output. આ સ્ટેજ સુધી આપણે જેટલા લેબર ઇન્ક્રીઝ કર્યા એટલું સામે આપણે ટોટલ પ્રોડક્શન પણ ઇન્ક્રીઝ થયું અને પ્રોડક્ટિવિટી ઓફ લેબર પણ ઇન્ક્રીઝ થઈ. So this is shown in the graph by increasing slope of product curve. So stage 1 is here, increasing slope of product curve, increasing slope of total product curve. So this is known as stage 1, when a marginal product becomes maximum, and marginal products become maximum at 100 quintals. So this is the stage 1 part. So what is the stage 2 part? That is diminishing returns. Marginal product decreases throughout. This means that every additional unit decreases the productivity, though total output still increases. So what is the meaning? That total output increasing but at diminishing rate. For example, in stage 2, marginal products is declining. Here marginal product is declining, and though total product is increasing, total production is increasing but at decreasing rate, at decreasing rate. So this is shown on the graph by a decreasing positive slope of total product curve. So this is the increasing but at a diminishing rate. So here the slope is decreasing. Yes, output is increasing but slope is decreasing because of the diminishing rate. Then the stage 3, that comes to the negative, that is declining returns. Marginal product is negative throughout. This is the stage 3. This means that each additional unit actually decreases the total output. Now at the stage 3, it means that if we are increasing one more extra unit of labor, there will be no benefit, but we are actually losing our total output also. A waste of money and resources. આપણે જેટલા જોતા હોય એટલા જ લેબર રાખવાના. આપણે જો એનાથી વધારે લેબર રાખીએ તો આપણો ટાઈમ બી વેસ્ટ થાય અને એને આપણે વેજીસ જે દેવા પડે એ અલગ. સો this is, at this point of time, it is complete waste of money and resources. So this is shown on the graph by a negative slope. This part, negative slope. After the labor 8, marginal product curve is negative. Okay. So what we have concluded, that the greatest productivity is at the end of stage 1. આપણે જોયું કે સ્ટેજ 1ના એન્ડમાં we will get maximum average product, maximum marginal product. ઓકે. સો જેટલા લેબર્સ આપણે એડ કર્યા એટલું આપણને maximum marginal product as well as maximum average product, average quintals આપણને મળ્યા. The greatest output is the end of stage 2. Yes, we have got the greatest total product is at end of stage 2, that is at the level of 504 quintal. So total product is maximum at what point? At 504 quintals at the end of stage 2. Okay. Therefore, stage 2 is ideal because there is the balance between productivity and total output. Here, when we will get a maximum total product at the point of 7 labor. After 7 labor, if we are increasing labor by 1, there is no change in output. So this level is ideal at where we will get a maximum return of maximum output from all the labors. Okay. So here are some assumptions of the law of variable proportion. Is one of the factors of production is fixed and constant. Here we have assumed that our land is fixed. હા, એવું પણ બની શકે કે આપણી પાસે બીજી લેન્ડ હોય અને એમાં પણ આપણે વધારે પ્રોડક્શન કરતા હોય. બટ for the understanding point of view, we have assumed that one of the factors of production is fixed. Then variable factors, that is here in our example, that is labor, are identical and homogeneous. That is કે એક લેબરનો પણ જો આપણે વધારે યુઝ આપણે એક લેબર પણ આપણે ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરીએ તો આપણે એવું અહીંયા અઝ્યુમ કરીએ છીએ કે each and every labor have same capacity. In real life it is not possible, but here for the law we are assuming that all the labor are having identical capacity, and we are assuming that there are no improvements in technology. We are not using any machines to produce more wheat over here. Okay, and we are using combination of various inputs. Okay, so these all are the assumptions of the law of variable proportion. So here are the statement of the law. So this law explains the short run production functions in which one factor, that is input, varies while others are fixed. In other words, the law explains the relationship between the units of a variable factor, in our example that is labor, and the amount of output in the short term. So this law applies in the short term, because in the long term એવું પણ બની શકીએ કે આપણે બીજી લેન્ડ લઈએ અને બીજા વધારે લેબર્સનો આપણે યુઝ કરીએ. So this law is for short term. So this relationship is also called returns to a variable factor. That is, આપણને જો આપણે એક ફેક્ટર આપણે વધારે યુઝ કરીએ છીએ તો એની સામે આપણને કેટલું રિટર્ન મળે છે. So this law is also called returns to a variable factor. The law states that keeping other factors constant, that is in our example we keep constant land, when you increase the variable factor, that is labor, then the total product initially increases, that we have understand in our example, then increases but at diminishing rate and eventually starts declining. After some point of time it eventually declines and becomes negative. When the number of one factor is increased, that is our labor, જેમ જેમ આપણા લેબર આપણે ઇન્ક્રીઝ કરતા જઈએ, while other factors are constant, that is land, the proportion between factors changed. we have understand that if we are increasing labors by 2, then we got a 2 gem 10 acres. So we have used our proportion inputs that is changed. So here are some definition of law of variable proportion. So this is the theory of law of variable proportion you need to study, and here are some definitions. An increase in some inputs relative to the other fixed inputs will in a given state of technology cause output to increase. But after a point of the extra output resulting from the same addition of extra inputs will become less and less. That we all have understand in our example. The purpose of putting definition at the end is you have understand all the factors and all the meaning of these lines to the fully. Okay. The next definition is the law of variable proportion states that if the inputs of one resource, that is labor, is increased by equal increment per unit, that is one labor, etc., by equal increment per unit of time, while the inputs of other resources are held constant, total output will increase. But beyond some point, resulting output increases and will become smaller and smaller. Okay. So highlighted points are important here, and in each and every slide I have highlighted some points that you have to put extra effort on. In every slides I have highlighted some lines and some points that are very important to understand and remember. So keep studying, prepare well, and thank you so much. Okay.